Hi, I'm Gia Mills, and welcome to True Reflections, the podcast where my guests reflect on the way they feel about their physical appearance and what really lies beneath the surface. Don't forget to follow our podcast where you're watching or listening, or on social media at True Reflections Podcast. We first met today's guest on Sort Your Life Out, and since then, he is the go-to man for all the cleaning hacks. So, as it's New Year, here at True Reflections, we are delighted to welcome him as he releases his new book, Clean in 15, and makes even more tips and tricks for you on his Mr. Carrington YouTube channel. So please welcome to True Reflections, Iwan Carrington.
Hello, how are we doing? Nice to
I'm
see
very
you.
good.
Good.
Good morning. Oh, we're both in purple, looking sort of getting our harmonising colours
I'm
going.
loving it. Love a bit of purple.
Love a bit of purple. So we first saw you on Sort Your Life Out, and I am a massive fan of that. I absolutely love it. I'm not good at cleaning, so when I watch it, it gives me such joy. So congratulations. But tell me, it must be quite interesting watching yourself on telly. Was it a bit of a shock when you first saw yourself? You're like, oh my God, how does that feel when you first see yourself?
It's a funny one because I'm a content creator, so I'm used to filming myself. So when you do that, you have full control. You've got the edit, you've got all you're holding the camera most of the time yourself. So you just immediately have to, I think, kind of leave any kind of vanity at the door, especially when you're doing a show like ours where we are just mucking in. There's no time to worry about whether, your hair might be out of place or you're looking a little bit sweaty. A lot of the time, I will literally be on my hands and knees cleaning an oven or a toilet. Might have my hand down a toilet. So there's parts where you just think, you know what? It's not that important, really.
Yeah.
I do like to be presentable, and you might have seen that I do often turn up wearing white jeans
Yes.
because I like to, feel clean and when I'm cleaning, and but I really have got to a stage now where, in terms of kind of, yeah, how I appear, I
Mm.
kind of don't worry about it, which is really nice as well, because if you kind of can put that to one side, it's one less thing that you don't have to think about or worry about, which is lovely.
Yeah, no, I think it is, and I think when you start off, because if you're not like a young, started on telly really young, it's always that bit of a shock to start with because you're like, oh my God, do I look like that? Do I sound like that? Oh,
Yes,
God, and you get that, but you learn pretty quickly, I think, and when you can then start relaxing and not worrying about it, then I think the real personality comes through.
for sure. I think it's interesting with television because, as I said, you're seeing 360, and so you do suddenly see all these angles of yourself. And depending on what I've had for breakfast that morning, I might want to wear a shacket because it can be more accommodating for those certain angles as well. But I'm pretty chill with it now. I don't really mind, and it's just a nice thing, isn't it? And I think I always think, really, with a program like ours or any kind of content that I'm creating, I don't want that to be the focus.
Yeah.
And I have fun with my clothes and I'll put a bit of slap on, but it shouldn't be the main thing.
So what's your sort of go-to? So you wear, I love it, white jeans when you're cleaning out people's loos on the telly.
I've had
So
the
what's the
same pair of white jeans since the very first season as well, because people constantly say, how do you clean wearing white jeans and white trousers? And well, I know how to get all the stains out. Of course I do. So I've had the same pair. And actually, a lot of the clothes that I wear are on kind of repeat as well. I do like to do a bit of thrifting, and a lot of my fashion circular. So my staples like that, I just keep bringing them out every time. But yeah, I have my little things that I like to do. I wear a bit of makeup for television, particularly, and
what sort of makeup
spent
do you wear?
ages doing my hair.
Yeah. What's your go-to for makeup on the telly?
So I use I'm probably not that down with all of the brand names. I think it's a Rimmel concealer that I use, and I'll
Mm.
use that under my eyes and anywhere that's looking. If I do occasionally get the odd spot still. And then I don't use a foundation. I've sort of played with those in the past. And it was interesting because when I first started doing Steph's Packed Lunch, we were in COVID. So my first sort of television appearances and also the pilot for Sort Your Life Out, it was a case of me doing my own makeup. And I did already have makeup. I've worn makeup for years, but in the sort of pop on a little bit of bronzer kind of vibe, not like having full understanding of what works and what looks good on the television or on screen. So I was
Yeah.
kind of winging it. And, I think some of those sort of early appearances, particularly with Steph's Packed Lunch being a studio show, I look back and think, oh, okay, it could have been worse, that's for sure. But I think because less is more. But so for me in that, it was kind of just trying to be aware of not being super shiny, which you get under the
Mm.
lights, don't you? So I learned a bit along the way. But in terms of what I wear now for television, I do the concealer, and then I just love I fake tan as well. So actually the night before I dye my beard. I have vitiligo, so my beard is patchy if I don't dye it. And then
Interesting.
I will go in with the fake tan. I love to use the little spritz one. I've got my bag here with me
Oh
because
yes,
I've got
let's see. What have you got in?
a
What have you
rummage.
got?
It's very not much in here,
Ah.
but there's a
I
few
love
bits.
it when I get asked to do a male group, the male grooming, because I don't need to take such a big kit. It's a delight.
Oh yeah. This is the a tanning, I feel like, influencers.
We'll hold it up to the screen.
Yeah, yeah, do that. A face and body tanning mist. This is some Moriz. These are so cheap, but this is one that I've been using, and it just makes me look so healthy. And I just spritz this on, and I thought it might give me an issue with, when you get the fake tan on the beard line and you
Yeah.
get that horrible orange. It doesn't happen with this, and I can even, if I've got a t-shirt on, spray it all around my neck, and it
Do
doesn't
you need to
go on the
brush it
bed
in?
sheet.
Do you buff it in or do you just spray it?
Yeah, I do. I either just use the tanning mitt. This is how technical I am, and just go make sure it's not dripping. You just don't want the drip marks, but it's so forgiving, which is
Mm.
great. I used to go on with the tanning mousse, and it would be messy and
Yeah,
not
tanning
cheap.
mousse. So you use a mitt rather than a brush to blend
Yeah,
it in.
I
Oh,
do have a brush as well, but yeah, but sometimes it is just a case of grab the mitt and whack it around. It's
so
so forgiving.
but no,
And then also, yeah, the Macs that I use, I've got two of them. This one's more of a, I guess this is more for the, you can tell
okay,
me.
so that is a
Quite
universal
pale.
makeup
Yeah,
artist staple. It's just a blotting
yeah,
powder that just absorbs because it doesn't light reflect. It just literally absorbs because you want something because often powders now because it's for real life often it light reflects and you don't want that for the telly. You want something just like
absolutely.
sunshine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So those little bits around your nose and all that, I go in there with
Or
that.
it's here.
Yes, yeah,
Um, primers can quite mattifying primers are quite good for men. I love that kind of like I'll put that on people and then a little bit afterwards. But there's really interesting the vitiligo. We've had other guests on who've with the same condition,
yes.
and so that's interesting. So from a beard point of view, it manifests as patches, so the color patches rather than because it's hidden underneath. Is that what happened?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I got it in my 20s, and I think it was as a result. I didn't have a beard, and I used to
Mm.
shave. And when you get like a little ingrowing hair, I would just like pick at them or try and sort it out. And I think that caused some kind of trauma to the skin whereby then it thinks it needs to repair itself or do its thing. So I think that's what kicked the vitiligo off in my circumstances. So I ended up with kind of like quite a big patch of no pigment in my beard. So when I was shaving, it was quite easy to disguise because unless you get super tanned, it wasn't too obvious for my skin tone. But
Mm.
when I grew the beard out and felt much more comfortable having the beard, I don't particularly enjoy shaving every day, then that was very visible. So for me, it was just a sort of choice as to whether to go with it or not. And it does, I let it grow through when I'm kind of off camera, but it unfortunately, the way I see it, and other people would probably say something completely different, but it just looks a bit unkempt, kind of scruffy because
Mm.
of the way it appears. And when I have been on my YouTube, I'll pop up and I haven't bothered dyeing my beard, and I don't explain it anymore, but I get the comments like I've looked like I've had a fight with the razor that morning, or it looks wonky, or so it can be a bit of a distraction, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. But I just decided I don't mind doing the dyeing process, and I found a natural dye that's really good
Oh,
and
brilliant.
works. So yeah, I think it's henna based, and I did do a lot of research on them because things like the Just for Men have got a lot of chemicals in them, and so if
Mm.
you have got vitiligo, it's to be avoided.
But
So
also absorb into your system, particularly something like vitiligo. And there are a lot of studies with particularly for dark hair. There's certain chemicals that can. There are certain cancers, whatever, that if you use it too much. So that's really good that you've actually found something that
yeah,
works. Did it have any effect was it just a kind of like, this is quite annoying, or did it have, because like lovely Georgia May Foote, who we interviewed, she had, her condition is all over her body and it's growing. Is yours just located around your beard?
Yeah, it is. And I haven't seen it pop up anywhere. Around the time of getting it, I did quite a lot of research into it, and it was quite a shock because you think, oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? What's happening? Why am I suddenly losing pigment? And you don't know whether it's going to continue, as you say, or you don't know whether that's going to be it. So I started doing some treatment for it, and I was getting the topical treatments like the steroid ointments. And that was at the time when I was shaving all of my beard off. And I just found that they were really unpleasant to use. They were quite sort of thick, balmy, Vaseline type things. And then that would cause spots, so didn't see massive improvements with it either. And yeah, they also offered me to go in where you can go and learn about the camouflage makeup. So they showed me that, and how you can sort of like go on with. They were kind of like a heavy duty concealer, I guess, something a little bit more. It would probably like last a bit longer, almost more. I think it'd be a bit like a stage makeup kind of
Yeah.
vibe. And I experimented with those a little bit. They were kind of quite thick crayon type things, and in the end, I just figured out what kind of felt right for me. It hasn't continued to expand or pop up anywhere else on my body. And, I think there may well be a time in the future where I do just fully embrace it. I feel like maybe as I get a bit older, it might almost kind of suit me a little bit more as well. So it's one of those things that in the
A
future you may
distinguishing
see me
feature.
and half my beard's white.
Yeah, but I think it becomes that sort of distinguishing feature, and I think men are very lucky because there is more forgivingness, and women have to go. I think there's much more of a kind of, I really need to embrace this a lot more than I think men, because it's like, oh, that's quite. It's kind of like it's a thing. It's a feature about you. Whereas with women, if there's any kind of distortion, we have to work a lot harder to kind of make that socially acceptable.
Yeah, and I think obviously as well with depending on the color of your skin as well, it is how visible it is. But I think it can look so incredible and amazing, and I do think it's so great when people do embrace it. And yeah, I think the only reason, as I say, why I kind of haven't is with it being just in my beard, it just looks scruffy. It doesn't necessarily appear as like it looks necessarily like vitiligo, if that makes sense. It just looks like a kind of very patchy beard. So yeah, it's a tricky one.
Well, I think you're doing very well, sort of covering it and getting it to the place you want it to. And I think it's interesting how you say the kind of scruffiness, because obviously you are a man who doesn't embrace scruffiness in
No.
the you love like that cleanliness, the tidiness, and you're really well known for that. What do you think was, because I think there's a mental thing about being clean and tidying stuff. Where do you think that kind of started for you to kind of get that joy for cleaning?
I just remember at a very young age, I might have been like 5, seeing this letterbox down the road, and it was so beautifully shiny, like a brass one that's sparkling and gleaming. And ours wasn't the same. Ours was brass, but it was kind of, dull and a bit dirty looking. And I really wanted to clean it. And I remember like wanting to go and speak to the neighbor to ask them how they got it so shiny. And I think I went up with my mum and knocked on their door and asked them. And they said to me, you need to clean it regularly, like you clean your teeth. And I remember as a 5-year-old thinking, wow, that's a lot. Like you're doing this every single day. And also, I
You're
also remember
nice.
kind of like the frustration of them not actually telling me what they used. So even at that age, there was something there where I wanted to know how to do it, but I also wanted to know what product would work best, and just had that in my brain. And I think, yeah, from working in a pub as a teenager and cleaning that, and then going into adult life and just wanting to have a nice home, not having loads of money when I was starting out, to buy things to make my home beautiful. One of the most easiest things you can do to make your home beautiful is to clean it well. So
But there was, because I think there's something, cleanliness is next to godliness. And I am a self confessed, not amazing cleaning person. But when I do it, I feel there's something that it does. Like before New Year started, I thought I need to get my office tidy, clean my house, clear the decks, get everything sorted. Because I'm famous in my family for they're always come around and they're like, oh, that's dirty. And they'll come and clean it. I just clean that. But I think there's something psychologically settling when everything around you is clean. Do
definitely.
you find that? Do you think there's ever been anything that's like it's been something you can hold on to, that is something you can control to make you feel okay?
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, and I'm actually a lot more chill than many people may think. I'm certainly, I talk about this in the book that I'm not a clean freak, but I
Mm.
really enjoy having a clean space, and it does absolutely make you feel better. It makes you feel like, I think in my sort of early screen tests for Sort Your Life Out, I was scrubbing away at my sink and I was saying, when my sink is like shiny and all clean and I've dried it off, I feel like a man who's got their life sorted because
Mm.
it just instantly has that feeling where you feel like you're getting your stuff together, and you're in control. So
Yeah.
it is something that we can control and we can make our own spaces beautiful. So yeah, absolutely.
I think it does help, and I've really loved the book. You're Clean in 15, which is just out. It's really charming, and you kind of think, oh, I know how to clean, but actually the way you put it all together, particularly for people like me who aren't like famed in my family and friends for being the most fastidious cleaner, it just is brilliant because everything, as you say, it's clean in 15. And you've got all these great things. Like, these are my favorite. There are these literally, because it's Dorling and Kindersley, it's fantastic. It's got all these little sort of, this is going to take you 15 minutes, and here's the start, and here's the things you do. And you're just dissecting it in such a way that it's not overwhelming. And that's
Exactly.
what I really like about it.
Yeah, I wanted it to be a book that you can very easily access. So anytime that you want to do some cleaning, or if you've got a stain in your home, or it's to refer to, and it's to find things easily. So I wanted it to be so visual and easy to navigate. I work in quite a visual way. So as I was writing the book, it's a very simple book in many respects in terms of how it's laid out and the contents within it, but everything has been structured in a way that it's going to save you time when you're cleaning. It's going to save you time when you're thinking about how you go about navigating your home when you're cleaning it. So I've really stripped it all back and sort of really thought through every single little detail, and hence putting the little clocks on things too, so you get an
I
idea of that.
absolutely, I love that because you've got like different things. It's like, it's only 10 minutes and you need to do this monthly. And what do you need? And then you give little tips and stuff. And that, for people, I think students are really good, and those
Yeah,
who are just not into cleaning that much. It's really simple, and it actually makes, because often you think it's going to take you loads of time to clean something. You're like, I don't want to do that. Oh,
yeah.
and you put it off. But the way you're like, oh, it's just 10 minutes. Oh, I can do that. And it's like, I'll just do that little bit. So I think it's a really charming book that actually you didn't know that you needed.
Yeah, I think
It's a,
even people who've got like loads of cleaning knowledge will still get something from it too, because there's sometimes everybody cleans differently, and I'm always learning from people, and social media is amazing. But there'll be things in it where you think, oh, you do it that way around. Oh, you light the candle first when you've got last minute guests coming in 15 minutes. I do that last. And I light it first so it scents the entire home while I'm doing everything else quickly. So it's little things like that that I've included that people may not have thought about, and hopefully will help them too.
no, it is. It's one of those things I think is a really good gift for students going going to
Yeah,
live. And
first time. Yeah,
so a really good back to uni one, and just because I think I love having things that are piecemeal and easy to digest. Because if you're told, right, clean your house, you're like, oh, but actually
yeah,
having it done the way you segmented it, and the infographics and how you put all that together, for me makes it so much easier to kind of get my head around. So I'm excited. I'm sort of looking forward to just having it lying around,
yes,
and I think it does help. As we said, it helps you mentally, and there is a correlation between how you present yourself and equally how your home is looking. Because I think if you're dressed, as you say, you like wearing the white jeans, you like feeling a certain way in clothes. Likewise, when your house is up together, it mentally makes you feel like you're ready for the day, you're ready to go. It has an extraordinary effect.
absolutely. I talk about the thing of, the very small thing of making your bed in the morning, which I do slightly differently because I air the bed, so I pull the covers right the way back, but it's still that process of making it ready and presentable to get back into that night. And even that small thing to start your day with can be hugely beneficial to kind of like your mental well-being and your attitude and how you're tackling the day. And it's like, oh, I've made my bed. Go me. Now what can I
I
achieve
know,
today? It's very simple.
I have a very good trick, but it's very boring. I won't bore everyone with
Oh, I
my
want to hear this.
duvet trick. Well, very quickly, I think, Johnny, we've got 2 seconds to do. I pull mine back halfway so it airs where it needs to, but it's still neat. And then I have all my pillows sort of piled up at the back, so it all looks quite like hotel-y, but you're air
Yeah,
at the same time. And then I get in, it just has a nice little. Anyway, I'll
that's
sit.
perfect.
I can
I
send you a
love
photo. So,
that. Yes, please.
but it's sort of, if there's that sort of connection between beauty, sort of appearance and kind of the house, it's kind of like when you were younger, you sort of saw this tendency. Did you look to anyone like boy bands or anyone famous that you're like, I kind of want to have look like them, be like them? Who did you look up to and aesthetic wise?
I think I did, I think boy bands would have been a big one for me. And, I remember just going through, I absolutely loved like teenage girls magazines as a teenager. They were so good
One.
to read through, so I'd always be trying to get my sister's ones or offering to buy her one from his agent, and I would be devouring it. And absolutely with the boy bands and yeah, I think pop stars, the fashion and the hair. I went through so many different hairstyles, all throughout, particularly in my 20s, had all the David Beckham haircuts and all, grew it long, had it short, had the mullet, dyed the mullet, did all the, like the blonde highlights and all the rest of it. So yeah, I'd constantly change that up. And as I've grown older, I've just sort of settled into what I think suits me. I don't do the trends anymore. I've had the same haircut and, the beard now for the past, 5 years, it hasn't really changed. It might just get a bit shorter or a bit longer. But I love all that. I still love magazines and getting inspiration and playing around with fashions.
Well, do you know who I thought you looked like, or think you look like? Your look is Jonathan Bailey from who's on Wicked and Bridgerton. I was like, he looks so like Jonathan Bailey, and I think he's very handsome.
And that's a very big compliment for me.
You do, you
I
really
haven't
do.
seen it myself, but yeah, I'll take that.
A massive thank you to Ewan Carrington. His book, Teen and 15, a real must, I might add, is out by now, and you can see him on YouTube by searching Mr. Carrington. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find me across your social media by searching at True Reflections Podcast. You can explore my Skin Emotion cosmetics range to help boost your confidence at skin.in.motion on your social media channels. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favourite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but also the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.